everyone. Welcome to Project Happy Hour. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you've watched a few of our previous episodes, but if not, you can always watch them on our Prosperi YouTube channel. Don't forget to grab your drink, because that is the point of this show, is to enjoy a drink and relax with us. So the purpose of this show as well, not just to have a drink, but it is also just to provide a virtual happy hour where you can check out of work and check in to join us and just have some informal but professional fun. So I just wanted to explain that throughout the episode, we will have a hot word where our panelists are trying not to say that word. And each time they say that word is $1 US that's added to the total tally of what we will be donating to the World Health Organization's COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund. So since we're an international company, it's really important for us to support WHO in the race to find an effective vaccine so that we can all start joining each other at real happy hours and not virtually. So with that being said, I am pleased to introduce our panelists, which we've got some new faces this time. We wanted to switch it up. So we've got AndreTiberio and Larissa. Larissa, I have a hard time with your last name.
Sartorio.
Sartorio. Yeah, it's hard with accents. Sartorio. All right. So, how's it going, guys?
Good.
I'm doing great. Hey, hello.
Thanks
Go on,
for
Larissa.
joining
You
us.
first.
What are you guys drinking?
I'm drinking a michelada.
I'm drinking a beer from Brazil called Praia.
Oh, nice. And what is yours, Larissa?
The bottle, Praia.
Mine is a michelada. It's made of a beer, but then you put salt and pepper and lemon. It's a Mexican drink with beer. It's very good.
What? That's mind-blowing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
How cool. Awesome. All right. I'm having a White Claw. I'll take it out of my koozie. I was having a koozie here to keep it cold. But yeah, mango flavored White Claw. Do you guys have those? They're hard seltzer water.
I don't know what it is. No.
It's a hard seltzer water. It tastes like water with a little flavor, and it's got some alcohol in it. So
Oh, good.
it's the new summer drink.
Refreshing.
Yes, very refreshing. Exactly that. So
Yeah, this
awesome.
is so warm in
Okay,
Brazil.
well, are you guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Do you want to see the hot word?
Oh
Sure.
my God.
All right. So today's hot word is agile. So
How can we talk about agile without saying agile?
What?
How can we talk about agile without saying agile?
Exactly. That's the whole
Are we
point.
counting it?
Got to make it tricky, got to make it challenging, and it also makes it a little bit fun, and we're supporting a great cause. So yeah, this will be fun. So I'll ask you guys a question, we'll banter back and forth, and then we also have our Tell Meme About It segment. So let's move to the first question. So what is the basic difference between Agile and Waterfall, and what are the pros and cons of each concept?
All right. Can I go on this, Tiberio?
Please, go on.
The waterfall, which we are more used to, it's more of a sequential flow. It's a step-by-step process of logical stages. So you have very defined process, which first you detail the requirements, and then you design the prototype, and then you begin development. So you do start and finish all these steps, and then you develop, and then you develop all your product or whatever you're doing, and then you test it only in the end. When you finish the development, you start testing it. So after that, you have to go all fixing all the bugs and issues, and then you proceed the deployment and then the maintenance. So there is higher documentation on waterfall process, and you have deadlines too, because you already know what you're building and when you're going to begin and start and end all the process, and so it's more predictable. But it's not very much flexible, which we are going to talk about at Agile. it has lower quality and also a low customer involvement, because it's you involve the customer in the beginning when you detail the requirements, and then when you design the prototype also. When you are developing and testing, the customer not seeing what's happening, only in the end of the process.
Yeah.
Talking about Agile, Sartorio, you want to add something?
No, I would like to point out, you said perfectly, but I would like to point out that in the waterfall approach, we have pre-planned tasks. So we have a fixed scope, a fixed cost, and a schedule. So everything that needs to be changed during the execution is very difficult. So we depend a lot on the requirements collected early on, and this is a good way to see if you can use waterfall approach or not, depending on the initial requirements. If you can collect them fully, then waterfall may be the approach that you're looking for.
Yeah. So Agile is a different way of thinking than Water Cascade. It's made of a lot of sprints, where you detail, review, scope, and build, test inside each sprint. So you do little by little what to accomplish the same. You can be accomplishing the same result as the waterfall, but in different ways. So these sprints shouldn't be long. It should be lasting between 2 and 6 weeks, because the requirements are taking step by step, and the customer, it's a higher communication with all the stakeholders. So they can give opinions on the result and what's being built and developed. So things can be changed as they are seeing all the steps that are done. So there's much flexibility in Agile. Sorry, I'm saying Agile and I don't even, yeah, it's the A, because it's the A word, right?
We can use a synonym like fast or quick, because agile is an adjective, right? It's not a noun. People use it as a noun, but it is.
Yeah, you're right. And also there's better quality, because the customer can see what is being built, can make modifications about it, and there's high level of their involvement because of that. But there's little documentation, because it's been built and by the time it's being done, and it's very hard to set deadlines because we don't know what's coming next. So that's what we can say about waterfall versus agile.
Yeah. So the waterfall counterpart, let me say it this way, is all focused on iterations. Like we have to involve our customer every time a sprint ends, and change is expected and embraced. So this is it. We can talk more in the future
with
questions.
the next questions.
Yeah.
Got it. Awesome. I think that was a really good actually like simple explanation between the two. So definitely very helpful. So tell me about it. So as you said, we can keep talking about it.
15
There's
years
always
later, it's not ending this debate. So, but we forgot about talking about the pros and cons, right?
Yeah, well, I know Larissa mentioned a few in regards to, Agile's not as flexible compared to Waterfall. Do you want to mention a few other ones?
So the pros of Waterfall is that it has fixed cost and predicted end date. We have a very clear picture of the final product, and the progress of the project can be easily measured. So those are the pros of Waterfall. The cons are customer only receives the product of the project in the end of it, so it might result in customer dissatisfaction because only in the end he sees the end result, right?
And throughout checks.
Yeah, and changes are more difficult to implement. So it's formally controlled, and sometimes we need a different contract when we have a big change in Waterfall. And about Agile, The pros is that customer is always present and participating through the whole project. So if a customer needs to change something, it's very easy and it's expected. And I think it's easier to plan the resources because usually agile teams work on their own projects. So we don't mix resources from project to another one in agile way usually. And the cons of agile, because they are so opposite of each other, the cons of agile are maybe the pros of waterfall, because the cons are we have no fixed cost and predicted end date, so it's difficult to for consultancy. Usually, usually companies do their own products this way, and we have no clear picture of the final product. I would like to say that the difference between each other is like agile focuses more on delivering business value, and waterfall focuses on implementing the requirements.
I think
Agree.
yeah, that definitely kind of summed it up. And because a lot of people are like, especially pros and cons, understanding what's good about it, what's bad about it. And obviously it's for different situations. It, molds into the right solution. So like you just said, agile is for business values. Did I get that wrong? Right?
Yeah, you're right. Delivering
Yeah.
the biggest business value, the most big business value. And waterfall, you have to deliver what was collected during the requirements phase.
Yeah. So it definitely just means that there's, depending on what your situation is, what your project is which method you want to adopt.
There's no better. There's no better one.
For sure. Awesome. Wow. The pros and cons adds to the debate 15 years later.
And we would still talk about it 15 years later.
Yeah.
For sure.
There you go. It's a very good example.
I just hope that we don't look like this guy. All right, let's move on to our next question. So, how do you recommend a transition from traditional waterfall methods to the A word?
Yeah. Can I start this one, Larissa? Or do you
Sure.
want to? Okay.
Go ahead.
So, because Agile is not a methodology. Like we have methodologies that come from Agile, like Scrum, Kanban, Crystal, XP, feature-driven development. There are a list of many methodologies. So you need to pick one. So you cannot go with all of them. You need to pick one and study this methodology. And you start with a pilot project. You cannot flip the switch and change all the projects from your company to Agile. No, you do a pilot one, and you make a success case, and then you spread to the whole organization. You must involve the customer on the Agile agenda, because the customer might not be used to it, and now he has to join the meetings from 2 to 2 months, or maybe 2 and 2 weeks, depends on the size of your sprint, the length of your sprint. You have to isolate a team to this pilot, because as I said in the previous question, we have to have a focused team to deliver an agile project. And I think you should use a proper tool to manage this project. Maybe Microsoft Planner. Microsoft Planner is well suited to manage agile projects. And I think this is it.
Yeah,
Larissa?
I would also like to add that you need to invest in training, because some of the employees are not very used to work with Agile. They don't know how to do that, how to manage, how to make all the process. And also identify business needs. Because the organization must analyze what they want to gain from Agile. It's not just because it's the new thing, so let's do it Agile just to say they're working Agile, right? So what do you want? Like increase customer satisfaction, or is it the goal to reduce the risks of project failure? That would help a lot on knowing. And yeah, that's what I wanted to add. I think it's very important.
I think you mentioning training is really important just because a lot of companies want to implement something new, but they don't always provide the right training or even training in general. And that's one thing that intimidates people is when they don't know how to adopt something new because they don't know, what it entails, how to use it. And so it actually makes it more counterproductive because then they don't have the right tools. So training is definitely something I think that's important to highlight because of course transitioning from any method to another one is always an unknown territory for people, and it's always important to give them the right tools to be successful.
Yeah.
Sure, and also the company shouldn't be intimidated also by not knowing about it. Maybe the customer wants to work with Agile and the company is not ready. So to hire third-party support would be a very intelligent point in this matter too. So have the right support and right acknowledgement so it can work better for the transition.
Yeah. Another thing I would like to say is that when we use the waterfall methodology, usually the project manager that it's responsible for planning all the tasks. So how long are they going to take? How much effort is it going to take? And in the agile approach, usually we involve the team in this. So each sprint we do a meeting, we group up, and we hear the feedback from our own team because they know how much effort it's going to take to deliver those stories, because stories are the stories stands for agile, as tasks stands for waterfall. So in tasks we have what needs to be done, and stories we have what feature are we going to deliver.
Story stands for what?
Agile. Stories is related to agile.
I got you.
I'm sorry.
There's a lot of hot words in this one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Trying to trick you guys.
Oh,
But no, that's
I thought you were
definitely
messing with my English.
no. Great, don't worry. Awesome. No, that's really great to share. Anything else you want to add, or
That's about it.
all right? Tell me about it. I don't always do agile, but when I do it like waterfall.
That's right. Some
great.
customer asks about it, like, oh, let's do it agile, but some just to use the word doesn't know exactly what it is, and then start asking for what is not agile. Actually, start asking for deadlines and stuff. So
yeah, they want the best of the both words. Like they want fixed cost, they want fixed end date, but they want a fluid scope and heavy documentation. So they want everything from both methodologies.
Yep. And this is a great movie too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great reference. All right, next question. So we've talked about the two, we've talked about the pros and cons, we've talked about transitioning, but can the A word and waterfall coexist?
Can I start with this one?
Absolutely.
Go. Yeah.
So the truth is that sometimes we do not have much option but to mix the two methodologies. Some projects and some organizations may require a deliverable schedule, so it is not possible to use sprints. At the same time, they require autonomy and flexibility of the team without giving up governance. This is what we just talked about at the last meeting, right? An example, the project manager will basically be concerned with planning and controlling the schedule, and the team works with Kanban within the concept of team and self-manageable. That's what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say they can coexist, but it's not very usual because they're so opposite of each other. Like you have to have a small part of a project to be agile. Usually they go this way, like you have a whole project like waterfall, and nested inside you have a small agile project, but it needs to have a fixed end date. Like your scope is fluid, but your end date, you cannot run away from it. I have a personal experience working like this, and it worked greatly. We were hired to for consultancy, and we had a fixed end date, but no scope. So whatever I was able to deliver, the customer was happy about it.
Well, that's a good situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they were.
You
Yeah.
actually answered one of my questions, and I was thinking, well, after I asked this question, I was thinking, but sometimes you've got a big picture project, and then you've got smaller ones that are nested underneath. So that's actually what I was thinking of, is would that be a situation where they would coexist, and
Yeah,
you answered
that
that.
would be the most usual way they coexist.
Interesting.
So agile inside waterfall.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can waterfall ever be inside of agile?
Oh no. Well, I don't see that happening. It's
I was
really
just
hard.
throwing a trick question out there, and another reason to say the word.
Yeah. Maybe our listeners can comment on this if they have seen it before.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Okay. Anything else you guys want to add, or moving on?
No,
Move
you
on.
can move on.
Moving on. All right. Tell me about it. Fixed scope,
Scope,
term, and
term.
budget. How the F is
Motherfucker.
that?
That's right.
Yeah.
I think people see this term agile and they want it. They don't know it, but they want it because it's agile, right? It's fast, it's quick.
Yeah, that's what they
You-
think. It's quick. It's quicker than what we used to get, but it's not. It's not that simple.
Speaking of what you just said, how often are you working with a client where they really don't understand the difference between agile and waterfall, so they're asking for kind of a cohesion between the two because they're not even sure what they're asking for. They're just asking for what they want, and they don't even know how it falls under each category. How common is that?
Well, usually, yeah, it's very difficult because usually they don't have a very clear picture of what they need, and they want a fixed cost and a fixed end date. So they need agile, but they want waterfall. Actually, they need waterfall, but they say they need agile. It's very confusing.
Yeah, it's very hard. Some customer asks actually for flexibility, but there's a fixed scope and a fixed deadline. So we have to explain them nicely what's the difference, and what they want is not actually agile, it's something else. And then it's all about training the customer to think what is what.
Yep. And that's hard. That's a touchy subject because you don't ever want to like correct the
Yeah.
customer, but sometimes you
Yeah.
kind of have to educate them because you don't want to set false expectations where they're expecting one thing from you and what they're asking for isn't really realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our next question. So there's a lot of awesome PPM tools out there. So what PPM tools can be used in a hybrid approach?
Yeah. The latest versions of Microsoft Desktop app, Microsoft Project Desktop app, we have some agile features into it. So you can say what in what sprint does this task is involved to, and we have views like boards, we have burn down charts. So we have a lot there. So in the Microsoft Desktop app, and we in the Microsoft project for the web, we have a board view. It's a start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would complement with some
Great.
scenarios.
Time for another one.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Cheers, by the way. Let's take a cheers break.
Cheers. I'm in the second one. Maybe
Sorry,
I'm a bit drunk.
I have to have a little bit more here. Some more.
All right. Did you want to add to that, Larissa?
Yeah, I'll just add some scenarios here. So I would say that we could use one of our two style of project teams projects. The first one is a project, Microsoft Projects Online with a custom Kanban app. The second option is using Microsoft Projects for the web extended with Microsoft Power Apps. In the first scenario, we can use Microsoft Default Project Online to fit company governance needs related to scope, scheduled deliverable, documents, and whatever. And on the other side, project team can use our custom Kanban as a self-managed team to report project task status and also track other tasks that were not planned initially. We could accomplish that with separate tools. For an example, we can use a Microsoft Project Online to set a schedule, store project documents, and generate status report, while the project team can use an agile tools like Jira or Azure DevOps to track operational tasks in a more flexible way.
Interesting. All right. And obviously, we're a big fan of Microsoft tools and Project for the Web and Project Online. So we'll give a shameless plug for Microsoft there.
Yeah.
Given that we're a Microsoft partner. So awesome. It's always good to know what tools to use because, you know, if you're using the wrong tools, it can definitely hinder you, slow down productivity, or even fail you in a project. So it's really important to have the right tools. So thanks for your expertise and knowledge on that. Awesome. Let's move it on to tell me. You guys made this face.
Every time.
We have a lot of examples, a lot of situations.
Actually, I have a good poker face, so I don't express my feelings, but I feel this inside.
Yeah, like that happens a lot because we're used to work with waterfall process. So we detail all the requirements, and it's so to not work like fix the scope and deadlines and stuff. There has to be a lot of trust between the customer and us. So it's not very easy to deal with. So it depends on the customer. It has to be a different kind of contract. But so usually we do like a waterfall, all fixed costs and everything is scope. So in the middle of the process, there is change that they start seeing something and want to change, but it's not possible because everything is already planned. And then there's the Agile. it could be like it could be a lot easier because whatever we're building when we develop our customer final product for them to manage their projects, when they start using it, they see something that could be used in another way because of course they don't know it. They don't know all the project, how it works. So we are used to change, but we cannot change in the middle of the process. So we have to wait and do a new contract to start doing something change. And that's where there is, the balance, what we're going to do, waterfall or agile.
Back to the 15-year debate.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. I think this is our final question, so make it good. What are the best practices for suddenly remote project management teams?
Well, this is a very tough period we are facing, right? Everyone's working remote. Not everyone, but whoever can work remote is doing it. So I think we should have a dedicated workspace. It's a great way for you to focus on your job, and when it's done and you leave this space, you don't think about the job because burnout is so common, and we have to avoid it. You have to log out, turn off your computer, and stop thinking about your work, your job. I think this is my first tip. Would you like to add something, Larissa?
Yeah, I think it's very important to create a remote working agreement as a team to define expected behavior, such as everyone is heard, and agree on impactful virtual collaboration approaches. We could also use remote collaboration techniques and tooling and existing agile events to remain effective when team members, stakeholders, and customers are all remote also. I think it's very important.
One tip I would like to add is like, if you need time to do some tasks that you have to remain focused, just appoint in your agenda a time that you will be unavailable and log off from Teams, log off from Outlook, and stay focused. Like, because those pop-ups are going to how can I say, is going to
Make
distract.
anxious and
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think social activities and into daily work also to helps to maintain our personal connections, because we are losing this at this moment. We are not having too many personal connections at this time, which we lose some, social fun. So I think it's very important too to maintain what we used to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another thing is goal settings. So either people are working too much or they are working too little in this pandemic. So you have to set your goal for the day and work in a big or one or two big rocks and 3 or 4 pebbles, like small rocks.
I love that.
and you have to align these expectations with your manager. And once you are done with it, you have a feeling of fulfillment, right? Because you never know when your job is going to end or not, and you have to set your goals. And another tip is, by the end of the day, if you end early what you have planned for your day, offer help for your colleagues. This is going to make some magic, because when you need them, they're going to happily help you back.
That's nice.
Scratch mine, I'll scratch yours. We say this in English. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. It's, helping hand with each other. That's definitely a good one, for sure.
Yeah, and also I think we shouldn't be very pushy, but not too loose too. Like always trying to get so that the feeling about everyone you're involved with more close to, just to see how it's working, and trying to also to see if they need help or not, or maybe they need some push to help. Maybe it helps. So we have to have that feeling of because everyone is different, right? So yeah, I think we should try to be closer, even with distance. Digital, we can be close like we're doing now, and try to get the feeling from everyone.
Yep. And probably this might have gone better for the last question, but when we were talking about the tools, but Project Online, I get confused between Project for the Web and Project Online, but it's Project Online where it's got the active updates, right? Where someone can be literally updating their project and immediately it's already, and that is also a great way too, because then you're not overlapping, you're not working on something that someone else, there's no confusion there. So that's also another best practice, is having the right tool that's providing a live update to your other colleagues that are working with you on the same projects.
Of
That's
course,
right.
embrace technology. Don't be afraid to innovate. This is the best time to do it.
Embrace technology. Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
I actually love the rocks and the pebbles, because I have my to-do list and I use Planner, but I also have my handwritten, and just the feeling you get when you cross off your list. For me, I have a goal every morning when I see my list. I'm like, okay, these are the ones that I have to cross off today. And some of them are rocks and some of them are pebbles. Some of them are just sending an email to follow up with a client, and some of them are like getting a big task done where I've got to revise a document or work on a proposal. So I love the rock and pebble analogy. That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Anything else you guys want to add before we wrap it up?
I think that is it.
All right.
Can I add another sip of beer?
Yeah, for sure.
To relax.
So I just want to remind everyone that we are supporting the World Health Organization's COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund. So I'm pretty sure we each said the hot word numerous times. We actually might be making yeah, it's going to be quite a large donation, I'm sure. Sorry, Leah.
Yes.
But it's a great cause. It's a great cause. So yeah, so it's pretty hard not to say the word, and the more you have sips, it's, yeah, you just don't even think about it. But I hope it was fun for you guys. And yeah, so just lastly, we just want to share, check out our Prosperi YouTube page. You can see our happy hour channel on there, Project Happy Hour channel. And if you ever have any questions, suggestions, feedback, questions that you want us to specifically answer on the show, or themes, please reach out to us at askphh@prosperiglobal.com so that we can hear from you and tailor our show for you. That's what this is for. So one last cheers, guys. Appreciate it. So fun. So glad you could join us, and enjoy your evening, your drinks.
Bye, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye.
Stay sane.
Yes.